But first, time for the KMIR financial report. President Obama is heading to Europe to meet with the G7. Sprint cut 330 jobs and closed 55 stores around the country this week as part of an ongoing plan to shrink its workforce. And stocks were down across the board as investors went on a day of profit taking. But generally speaking, the stock market up once again for the week. Joining us now is KMIR financial analyst Brian Amidei. Brian, a sell-off today a little bit, but all in all this week up once again. What does that tell you?
Good evening, Gino. Yeah, it was a really volatile week. Sandwiched in the middle of it was the FOMC meeting, and certainly volatility has picked up. For the week, though, we were up over 2% in the equity markets, and that's the first time the markets have actually ended positively in the last 4.5 weeks. So, you know, things have been going well. The 10-year was actually up. The yield was up on the 10-year note from 265 to 275, and really it appears the only frothy part of the market is the IPO market.
Let's talk a little bit about the disconnect. And we've mentioned it before when talking about finances and business in this country. 72% of Americans think we're still in a recession, yet all the economic news, at least for the past 5-6 years, has been positive to varying degrees. Why do you think there's that big disconnect?
I think there's just a huge disconnect between what middle America is feeling with unemployment and underemployment versus what the economy is actually doing. If you remember back in 2008, a lot of the big firms laid massive layoffs. They laid a ton of people off, and quite frankly, they didn't rehire all of them back. The recovery is a three-step process, and typically you have stimulus, you have monetary policy cuts, which the Fed has been doing, and then you have fiscal cuts, which are tax reforms, and we didn't get the fiscal part of that, and so companies haven't been real quick to hire back, and they're learning to do without. So middle America is still suffering and still really feeling the pinch, and the divide in Washington isn't helping either, with each party, you know, trying to knock down each other and not getting along.
KMIR financial analyst Brian Amidei, thank you, sir, as always.
Thank you. Have a great weekend.